I remember sitting at my kitchen table in 2008, staring at my bank statement and feeling my stomach drop. After serving my country in Vietnam, working for over 40 years, and doing everything I thought I was supposed to do, I was 63 years old, with barely enough savings to last me a year. The market had crashed, taking half my retirement fund with it. My pension wouldn't cover my basic expenses, and Social Security wasn't going to be enough. I thought to myself, this is it. I'll be working until the day I die. But here I am today, 15 years later, completely financially free. No debt. Traveling when I want. Helping my grandkids with college. All on what most financial advisors would call an impossible fixed income. How did I do it? Well, that's what I'm here to share with you today. Let me introduce myself properly. My name is Frank Miller. I served in Vietnam from 1969 to 1971 with the 101st Airborne Division. When I came home, like many vets, I just wanted stability. Got a job at the local manufacturing plant, married my high school sweetheart Linda, bought a modest house, and raised 2 kids. I never made big money, topped out at about $58,000 a year before retiring. We weren't extravagant, but we weren't particularly careful either. We had the typical American financial story: some credit card debt, car payments, a mortgage, and what I thought was a decent 401. I figured between that, my small pension and Social Security, we'd be fine in retirement. Then 2008 happened. The financial crisis hit us hard. My 401 lost nearly half its value practically overnight. I was planning to retire at 65, but suddenly that seemed impossible. My pension was only going to provide about $1,200 a month, and Social Security would add another $1,800. That's $3,000 a month, or $36,000 a year before taxes. Meanwhile, our expenses were running about $4,200 a month. The math simply didn't work. I was looking at a $1,200 monthly shortfall. That's when panic set in. I remember telling Linda, I guess I'll be working until I'm 80. If they'll even keep me that long. The thought of being elderly and still having to punch a clock just to survive was devastating. What happened next wasn't some miracle windfall or get-rich-quick scheme. It was something much more powerful, a complete change in how I thought about money. I realized I'd been thinking about retirement all wrong. I was focused on how much money I could accumulate when I should have been focusing on how little I actually needed to live well. This might sound obvious now, but it was revolutionary to me then. I'd been sold on this idea that I needed at least 70–80% of my pre-retirement income to live comfortably in retirement. That's what all the financial experts said. But I started questioning, why? Why did I need nearly the same amount of money when so many expenses would disappear? No more commuting costs. No more work clothes. No more saving for retirement itself. No more mortgage if I could pay it off. No more raising kids. I sat down with Linda, and we had the most important financial conversation of our lives. We asked ourselves, what do we actually need to be happy? Not what society tells us we need, not what advertisers tell us we need, but what truly brings us joy and contentment. The answer was surprising. We needed security, yes. We needed health care. We needed a comfortable home. We needed to see our kids and grandkids. We needed some travel. We needed our hobbies. But we didn't need a new car every few years. We didn't need the latest gadgets. We didn't need a big house once the kids were gone. We didn't need expensive restaurants or designer clothes. This shift in thinking, it was like taking off. A heavy backpack I'd been carrying for decades. Suddenly, retirement seemed possible again, even on our limited fixed income. That's when I got to work creating a practical plan. The first and biggest expense for most retirees is housing. It's usually 30–40% of your budget. When I looked at our situation, we were living in a 2,400 square foot home with 4 bedrooms. It was the family home where we raised our kids, but they had been gone for years. We were heating, cooling, and maintaining space we simply didn't use. We had about 12 years left on our mortgage, about $980 a month. Property taxes were another $320 monthly. Insurance, utilities, and maintenance added roughly $700 more. That's $2,000 a month just for housing. 2/3 of our fixed income was going to a house that was too big for us. We had several options. Option 1, stay put and try to pay off the mortgage faster. This would have required working several more years and depleting our remaining savings. Option 2, downsize to a smaller house. This would free up equity and reduce our monthly expenses. Option 3, sell and rent. This would free up all our equity, but create an ongoing monthly expense with potential rent increases. Option 4, move to a lower cost area. Our kids were in different states anyway, so we weren't tied to our location. After months of research and soul-searching, we chose a combination of options 2 and 4. We sold our family home for $285,000, clearing about $140,000 after paying off the mortgage. Then we purchased a 1,200 square foot, 2-bedroom home in a lower cost of living area, about 90 minutes away for $165,000. We used $120,000 from our home sale proceeds, plus $45,000 from our remaining savings, to buy the new place outright, no mortgage. Our housing costs instantly dropped from $2,000 a month to about $650 for taxes, insurance, utilities, and maintenance. That single move freed up $1,350 a month, more than covering our previous monthly shortfall. Plus, we still had $20,000 left from our home sale to add to our emergency fund. But here's what surprised us most. We didn't miss the extra space at all. In fact, the smaller home was easier to clean, cheaper to maintain, and felt cozier. Sometimes less truly is more. If there's one thing that keeps people working past when they want to retire, it's healthcare costs. And with good reason. The average 65-year-old couple today can expect to spend over $300,000 on healthcare during retirement, even with Medicare. As a veteran, I'm fortunate to have VA benefits, but they don't cover everything, and Linda needed coverage too. We needed a realistic plan. First, I made sure I understood exactly what my VA benefits covered and what they didn't. Many vets don't fully utilize their healthcare benefits simply because the system can be confusing. I spoke with a VA benefits counselor who helped me maximize my coverage. For Linda, we initially looked at continuing my employer's health insurance through COBRA, but the premiums were astronomical, over $800 a month. Instead, we found a bridge plan through the Affordable Care Act marketplace that cost $420 a month until she turned 65 and qualified for Medicare. Once on Medicare, we both got Medicare Part A and B, plus a supplemental plan and a prescription drug plan. Our combined healthcare costs settled at about $580 a month, including premiums and our average out-of-pocket expenses. That might sound like a lot, but it was predictable, and that's what matters in retirement planning. We built it into our budget and could plan around it. But healthcare isn't just about insurance. Prevention became our focus. We improved our diets, started walking daily, joined a community center with a pool for $25 a month each, and really prioritized our health. Every dollar invested in prevention has saved us many more in potential healthcare costs. And here's something few people talk about. We researched and created advanced directives and detailed healthcare proxies. It's not pleasant to think about end-of-life care, but knowing we've made our wishes clear and won't burden our children with difficult decisions or excessive costs gives us enormous peace of mind. Next, we tackled transportation, which was costing us about $650 a month between 2 car payments, insurance, gas, and maintenance. That's nearly $8,000 a year, a huge chunk of our fixed income. The first thing we did was pay off Linda's car using some of our remaining savings. That immediately saved us $320 a month. Then we took a hard look at whether we really needed 2 vehicles. Our new home was in a walkable small town where many amenities were within a mile. After tracking our car usage for 2 months, we realized we rarely used both cars simultaneously. So we sold my car, which was starting to need expensive repairs anyway. Being a 1-car household saves us about $3,600 a year in insurance, maintenance, and registration. But more importantly, it simplified our lives. We plan our errands more efficiently now, combine trips, and actually spend more quality time together going places. For the occasional times when we both need transportation, we use a combination of strategies. There's a senior shuttle in our town that costs $2 per ride. We've made friends who are happy to carpool for certain activities. And yes, I've even learned to use rideshare apps like Uber when necessary, though that's a rare expense, maybe $30-40 a month at most. The 1-car approach isn't for everyone, but it's worked beautifully for us. And the savings have been substantial, nearly $5,000 a year compared to our previous 2-car household. Food is one area where many retirees overspend without realizing it. Before our financial wake-up call, we were spending about $850 a month on groceries and another $400 on dining out. That's $15,000 a year just on food. We didn't want to sacrifice quality or enjoyment, but we knew there had to be a more efficient approach. Here's what worked for us. First, we created a price book, a simple spreadsheet tracking the cost of our most common purchases across different stores. We discovered that by splitting our shopping between 2 stores, Aldi for basics and our regular supermarket for specific items, we could save about 30% without changing what we ate. Second, we embraced meal planning. Every Sunday, we plan the week's meals based on what's on sale and what we have on hand. This reduced our food waste from about 20% to nearly 0. We're actually eating better food now because we're more intentional about it. Third, we strategically replaced some restaurant meals with alternatives. Instead of giving up dining out entirely, we now do lunch specials instead of dinner, look for senior discounts, and use restaurant gift cards purchased through discount programs. We also started a small raised bed garden that produces tomatoes, lettuce, herbs, and peppers for about 6 months of the year. It's become a hobby that pays us back in fresh produce and satisfaction. These changes reduced our food spending to about $550 for groceries and $200 for dining out monthly, a $500 monthly savings without feeling deprived. For other necessities like household goods, medications, and personal care items, we applied similar strategies, buying in bulk when it makes sense, using discount programs like GoodRx for prescriptions, and distinguishing between needs and wants. This saved another $150 to $100 monthly. The key insight was that frugality doesn't mean deprivation. It means being intentional about your spending and maximizing the value of every dollar. One of the biggest myths about retirement is that you need lots of money to enjoy life. Our experience has been exactly the opposite. Some of our greatest joys in retirement have come from low or no-cost activities. We discovered our local library offers free concerts, movie nights, and lectures. The community college nearby lets seniors audit classes for just $25 per semester. Our community center has dozens of activities from woodworking to painting to yoga, all included in that $25 monthly membership I mentioned earlier. We found a group of fellow retirees who take turns hosting potluck dinners with themes. It's become a highlight of our month: good food, great company, and it costs just a few dollars to prepare a dish to share. Nature has become our entertainment too. We hike local trails, birdwatch, and have picnics in parks. Linda joined a gardening club where members exchange plants and seeds, which has transformed our small yard into a beautiful space without spending much at all. For travel, we've embraced slower, more meaningful experiences rather than whirlwind tour. We use home exchange programs to swap houses with people in other locations, eliminating accommodation costs. We travel in shoulder seasons when prices are lower and crowds are smaller. And we take advantage of senior discounts on everything from national park passes to train fares. When our grandkids visit, we focus on creating memories through activities rather than buying things. We bake together, build projects, explore local attractions, and start traditions that cost little but mean everything. What we've discovered is that retirement happiness isn't about constant consumption or expensive experiences. It's about connection, purpose, learning, and the freedom to use your time as you choose. And those things don't require a large budget, they require intentionality. While cutting expenses was crucial to our retirement success, we also found ways to supplement our fixed income without returning to full-time work. I've always been handy, so I started doing small repair jobs for neighbors and friends. Nothing too demanding, just 3-4 hours a week fixing leaky faucets or wobbly furniture. This brings in about $300-400 a month and keeps my skills sharp. Linda discovered she could make money from her quilting hobby. She sells a few pieces each year at craft fairs and teaches occasional workshops at the fabric store. It's not big money, maybe $2,000 a year, but it funds her hobby and then some. We also rent out our spare bedroom on Airbnb about 60 nights a year when friends or family aren't visiting. Being in a college town, there's steady demand during certain events and parent weekends. This generates about $4,500 annually after expenses. Another unexpected income source came from our yard. That garden I mentioned earlier. We grow a bit extra and sell at the local farmers market twice a month during summer. Between that and selling divided perennials from our landscaping, we make about $1,200 a year. These micro-income streams total around $11,000 annually, a significant supplement to our $36,000 fixed income. And importantly, they're flexible. We can do more when we want additional funds, or pull back when we want more free time or have health challenges. None of these activities feel like work in the traditional sense. They're extensions of things we enjoy, on our own schedule, bringing in money while adding meaning and social connection to our lives. I should mention that we're careful about tax implications. We track expenses against this income and consult with a tax professional annually to ensure we're reporting correctly while maximizing deductions. Something unexpected happened as we embraced this new lifestyle. We discovered the incredible value of community and shared resources. In our working years, we were so busy that we barely knew our neighbors. Now, we're deeply connected to our community, and it pays dividends both financially and emotionally. We joined a tool, lending library, where members share equipment. I don't need to own a pressure washer. I use twice a year or a specialized saw for one project. This has saved us thousands in potential purchases. Linda participates in a clothing swap group where women exchange seasonal items. She refreshes her wardrobe for free while clearing out unused items, much more satisfying than mindless shopping. We've organized carpooling with neighbors for weekly grocery trips and monthly excursions to the big city for medical appointments or cultural events. This saves on gas and makes necessary trips more enjoyable. 4 families on our street, including us, share a lawn mower and snow blower, with each family responsible for maintenance 1 season per year. This arrangement has worked flawlessly for 5 years now. Perhaps most valuable is our informal skills exchange network. I help a neighbor with plumbing. He helps me with computer issues. Linda helps someone with sewing. They provide fresh eggs from their chickens. This cashless economy of favors creates abundance without spending. We've learned that many hands make light work and light expenses. When my water heater needed replacing, 3 neighbors helped me install it, turning a potential $1,200 professional job into a $450 DIY project and an afternoon of camaraderie. This community-centered approach isn't just about saving money. It's created a support system that brings security no amount of money in the bank could provide. When Linda had surgery last year, neighbors organized a meal train, drove her to follow-up appointments, and checked in daily. You can't put a price tag on that kind of community. The single most powerful factor in our retirement success has been eliminating debt. When we started our retirement journey, we had a mortgage, 2 car loans, and about $8,000 in credit card debt. The minimum payments alone were eating up nearly 45% of our projected fixed income. We made debt elimination our absolute top priority. We used the debt snowball method, paying minimum payments on everything except the smallest debt, which we attacked with every spare dollar. Once that was paid off, we rolled that payment into the next smallest debt, creating momentum. We paid off the credit cards first, then one car loan, then the other. Finally, as I mentioned earlier, we downsized our home and purchased our new place outright. Going from making $2,300 in monthly debt payments to zero was like getting a massive raise. Suddenly, our fixed income felt abundant rather than restrictive. Beyond the math, the psychological freedom of owing nothing to anyone is profound. Market fluctuations don't keep me up at night. We don't dread the mail or opening bills. If an unexpected expense arises, it's just a temporary setback, not a financial crisis that sends us deeper into debt. This debt-free status has allowed us to build true financial resilience. We maintain an emergency fund of $15,000, enough to cover 6 months of essential expenses. We have another $10,000 in a replacement fund for when major appliances or our car eventually need replacing. And we still have about $85,000 in investments that we haven't had to touch, which continues to grow for potential long-term care needs. Living debt-free on a fixed income. means every social security cost of living adjustment or small pension increase goes directly to improving our quality of life or savings, not to banks or credit card companies. If there's one piece of advice I'd emphasize above all others for anyone approaching retirement, it's this: eliminate your debt before you stop working. It's the difference between retirement stress and retirement freedom. When I look back at that frightened 63-year-old sitting at his kitchen table in 2008, certain he'd never be able to retire, I wish I could tell him what I know now. I'd tell him that retirement on a fixed income isn't just possible, it can be deeply fulfilling and secure. I've shared our journey from financial anxiety to freedom, but let me summarize the key principles that made it possible. First, question conventional wisdom about how much you need. Focus on actual happiness, not arbitrary income targets. Second, tackle housing decisively. It's likely your biggest expense and offers the greatest opportunity for savings. Third, plan carefully for healthcare, including prevention. Fourth, simplify transportation. It's usually the second largest expense category. Fifth, be strategic about food and necessities without sacrificing qualities. Sixth, discover the joy in low-cost living and meaningful experiences. Seventh, create flexible micro-income streams doing things you enjoy. Eighth, embrace community and shared resources. And finally, prioritize becoming completely debt-free. These principles aren't just financial strategies, they're a pathway to a different kind of wealth. I measure my wealth now not by my bank balance, but by how I spend my days. By that measure, I'm far richer in retirement than I ever was during my working years. Today, at 78, I wake up without an alarm. I spend my mornings with Linda, enjoying coffee on our small porch. My time is my own. We see our grandkids regularly. We travel when we want to. We have enough, more than enough. If you're watching this and feeling anxious about retirement on a fixed income, whether you're a veteran like me or anyone facing limited resources, I hope our story gives you both practical strategies and hope. The financial freedom you're seeking is possible. Sometimes the path just looks different than you expected. Thank you for listening to my story. If you found value in it, please consider subscribing to the Budget Mastery channel for more practical financial wisdom. And I'd love to hear your questions or experiences in the comments below. Remember, we're all on this journey together, and sharing our knowledge makes everyone stronger. Until next time, this is Frank Miller, wishing you financial peace and purpose.